From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Friday, February the 2nd, 2018. A rocket was fired from Gaza towards Israel overnight last night. It was unclear where exactly the rocket landed, whether within Gaza or Israeli territory, but there were no reports of damage or injury. The IDF retaliated for the incident early this morning with airstrikes on a Hamas observation post in southern Gaza. The IDF said Israel considers Hamas as the sole entity responsible for what goes on in the Gaza Strip. Also yesterday evening, 4 Palestinians were arrested trying to infiltrate Israel from Gaza. IDF forces said the 4 were spotted before they crossed the security fence and arrested once they were in Israeli territory. 2 knives and a grenade were found on one of the suspects, and they were all taken for questioning. Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas will reportedly visit the U.S. later this month and address the United Nations. According to Reuters, the PA leader will address the UN Security Council on February the 20th during its monthly meeting on the Middle East. Well, Poland's Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki responded yesterday to the strong condemnation and concerns from Israel and the Jewish world over the passage of the controversial Holocaust bill, which criminalizes accusing Poland of any complicity during the Holocaust. Morawiecki said on Polish state television last night, "We will never limit the freedom to debate the Holocaust," adding, "We understand the emotions of Israel. We need a lot of work to make our common, often complicated history possible to tell together." Meanwhile, Jewish organizations continue to express their deep concern over the law, urging Poland's president not to sign off on it. World Jewish Congress CEO Robert Singer said while the sensitivity that Poles have around the issue is understandable, he said the passage of this law can only be seen as an act of historical obfuscation and an attack on democracy. B'nai B'rith International said Poland must recognize that some Poles provided assistance to the Germans and some participated in massacres not orchestrated by the Nazis. Israel's embassy in Warsaw said they have noticed a wave of anti-Semitic statements since the vote, but said, "We hope that over 30 years of work and dedication of wonderful people both in Poland and in Israel will not be in vain, and that we will be able to cooperate in an atmosphere of dialogue and shared understanding." And a bipartisan congressional task force wrote a letter to President Duda urging him to reject the law. New York Democrats Nita Lowey and Elliot Engel, New Jersey Republican Chris Smith, Florida Republican Ileana Ros-Lehtinen, and Florida Democrat Ted Deutsch, as well as Texas Republican Kay Granger and Democrat Mark Vesey and Republican Peter Roskam of Illinois, wrote that free speech and open debate are the lifeblood of all democratic countries, especially relating to issues that are the most difficult to reconcile. They wrote that with rising anti-Semitism throughout Europe, the region is strengthened by Poland's leadership on Holocaust research, adding that passing this legislation is inconsistent with this admirable legacy. A drawing by a teenage boy who was killed during the Holocaust will once again go into space. The first time Peter Ginz's moon landscape made its way into orbit was with Israel's first astronaut, Ilan Ramon, on the space shuttle Columbia, which tragically exploded upon re-entry on February the 1st of 2003. Marking the 15th anniversary yesterday, Israel's Holocaust Center Yad Vashem announced that a copy of the drawing would make another trip to space with American astronaut Andrew Fustel on his mission to the International Space Station. Fustel, who worked briefly with Ramon, said, "I feel honored to commemorate Peter, Ilan, and all the victims of the Holocaust in this way." Yesterday, by the way, would have also been the 90th birthday of Ginz, who was killed in Auschwitz at the age of 16. A statue honoring the late Jewish Congressman Tom Lantos was unveiled yesterday in his native Hungary. Lantos was the only Holocaust survivor to ever serve in the U.S. Congress. and he spent his life fighting against anti-Semitism and for human rights around the world. In 1983, Lantos co-founded the Bipartisan Congressional Human Rights Caucus, which was later renamed after his death as the Tom Lantos Human Rights Commission. Lantos died in 2008. The ceremony yesterday marked what would have been his 90th birthday. And taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Friday, February the 2nd, live Shabbat services are coming up at 6 o'clock at New York City's Central Synagogue, followed by a concert of Israeli musicians at 7:30. At 8, French intellectual Bernard-Henri Lévy speaks with NYU law professor Thane Rosenbaum about European Jewry. And at 9 o'clock, it's the film Israel Indivisible. And coming up right after this newscast tonight at 5:30, Rabbi Shlomo Riskin looks at this week's Torah portion. And that's the JBS News Update for Friday, February the 2nd, 2018. I'm Teisha Bader. Shabbat Shalom.